This next session is a two-part presentation, NPAP and PEP Overview, presented by Randy Chang and Shay Hong of US EPA Region 9.
Hi, we're Randy and Shay from EPA Region 9's Air Quality Analysis Office, and today we'll be giving an overview of the National Performance Audit Programs and Performance Evaluation Programs, or NPAP and PEP. This presentation will briefly cover the purpose and requirements of the National Performance Evaluation Programs. So we'll start with the purpose, then go into NPAP, PM 2.5 PEP, lead PEP, and some information on the ESAT contractor that the EPA uses. This is a list of acronyms that are used later on in the presentation, and you can reference back to this slide. Implementation of National Performance Evaluation Programs are a quality system requirement which serves to help an organization carry out required quality assurance and quality control activities. The CFR states, the PQAO shall provide for the implementation of a program of independent and adequate audits of all monitors providing data for NAAQS compliance purposes, including the provision of adequate resources for such audit programs. This requirement can be satisfied in two ways. First, EPA implementation of performance evaluation programs for particulate matter and lead, and/or national performance audit programs using STAG grant funds, which is the most common option, and most organizations in Region 9 choose to use the ESAT contractor, or self-implementation by the PQAO of adequate and independent audits as defined in the CFR. This is more rare, and there are more regulatory requirements that the PQAO must meet if they want to do independent audits. The purpose of the performance evaluation programs and audits are to provide independent assessments to ensure ambient air monitoring data collected throughout the nation can be considered good quality data and complies with the procedures and regulations set forth by the EPA. Independent assessment is a critical element in any quality assurance program, which helps provide a level of objectivity and consistency in the determination of data quality. It must be performed by an individual or group that is not part of the organization directly performing the work being assessed. Performance evaluations are a type of audit where quantitative data generated in a measurement system are obtained independently and compared with routinely obtained data to evaluate the proficiency of an analyst or laboratory. The National Performance Assessment Program is a key regulatory requirement to ensure and maintain the integrity of air monitoring data, especially as regard to comparability of data sets. So what we're looking for are sufficiently or acceptably low amounts of systemic variability in monitoring programs across states, cities, airsheds, regions, and nationally, and in maintaining traceability of measurement standards to the NIST. EPA's contractor ESAT conducts these assessments for sites that monitor gaseous pollutants, which include trace gas level NPAP at NCOR and NPS CASNet sites. During these audits, a contractor will generate pollutant concentrations from a NIST traceable standard to the contractor and organization's instrument to compare results. Contractors may also perform ozone loss line tests, instrument certifications, gas certifications, and audit system comparisons with another regional system. The following NPAP audit requirements are outlined in the CFR. 20% of the PQAO monitoring sites are audited each year, and 100% of sites every 6 years. These sites are selected by the EPA, and the PQAO is notified which sites are selected prior to the audit. Next, gas audits are verified against the NIST standard reference methods or special review procedures. CO, SO2, and NO2 audit gases are validated annually and quarterly for ozone for verification against the standard reference photometer. This image is of a gas delivery line. The contractor or auditor is responsible for developing a delivery system that allows audit concentration gases to be introduced to the probe inlet where logistically feasible. And this is another image of an NPAP audit setup for gaseous pollutants.
The Performance Evaluation Program for PM 2.5, Fine Particulate Matter having an aerodynamic diameter less than or equal to 2.5 microns, is a QA activity that is used to independently evaluate the measurement system bias of the PQAO's FRM-FEM monitoring network, including measurement uncertainties from field and laboratory activities, assess comparability between gravimetric weighing labs, and among the various FRM-FEM methods. These evaluations are performed annually for each PQAO. The program requirements for the PM 2.5 PEP program are outlined in 40 CFR Part 58, Appendix A, Sections 2.4 and 3.2.4. For PQAOs with less than or equal to 5 sites, 5 PEP audits are required each year. For PQAOs with more than 5 sites, 8 PEP audits are required each year. All primary PM 2.5 monitors must be audited once every 6 years, approximately 15% sites audited per year. Non-regulatory monitors and non-primary monitors, such as QA co-located monitors, are not required to have a PEP audit. Each method code associated with a primary monitor in the PQAO's network is required to have a PEP audit each year. PQAOs with less than 5 sites will end up having certain sites audited more than once in that particular year. This is required for statistical significance for the audit data. This slide shows a sequence of activity and flow of information. Starting at the bottom left corner, OAQPS sends filters to the PEP weighing lab for pre-exposure weighing to establish a tear weight. The filters are sent to the regional offices. During these audits, the PEP auditor will co-locate a portable FRM PM2.5 sampling instrument with the PQAO's primary PM2.5 instrument to operate simultaneously. The PEP filter is retrieved from the PEP audit sampler, sent to the PEP weighing lab where it is weighed, and the results analyzed and uploaded to AQS. The MOPED software shown on the slide is not currently in use yet, but soon to be. MOPED is analogous to the PET software, which is currently being used for NPAP. This facilitates retrieving site metadata from AQS and uploading data to AQS. This is a photo showing the PEP auditor's PM2.5 sampler co-located with the PQAO sampler for a PEP audit. The lead PEP program is similar to the PM 2.5 PEP program in that both are assessments of overall bias and are performed annually for each PQAO. However, in addition to assessing field audit requirements and performing co-located sampling, lead PEP analysis also includes a lab audit of the state and local co-located sampler. For the lab audit, 4 to 6 filter samples are sent by a PQAO from one or more of their co-located lead sites and sent to the analytical lab. This provides a comparison of the lead lab used by the PQAO and EPA's lead analysis lab. Preferably, these lead samples are collected from days spread out over the 4 quarters of the year and not on days when the agency is collecting precision measurements from the co-located sampler. Lead PEP audit requirements are described in 40 CFR Part 58, Appendix A, 3.4.7. All lead samplers must be audited once every 6 years. For PQAOs with less than or equal to 5 lead monitoring sites, 1 lead PEP audit is required each year, and the PQAO is to send 4 co-located lead samples to the lead PEP analysis lab. PQAOs with greater than 5 lead monitoring sites, 2 lead PEP audits are required each year, and the PQAO is to send 6 co-located lead samples to the lead PEP analysis lab. The lead PEP Analysis Lab had been at Region 9, but is now transitioning to the Region 4 lab. This slide shows a sequence of activity and flow of information. Starting at the bottom left corner, OEQPS sends filters to the regional offices. During these audits, the PEP auditor will co-locate a portable FRM lead sampler instrument with the PQAO's lead sampler to operate simultaneously. The lead filter is then analyzed by the Lead Analysis Lab. The results are analyzed and uploaded to AQS. The MOPED software, shown on the slide, is not currently in use yet, but soon to be. MOPED is analogous to the PEAT software for NPAP. This facilitates retrieving site metadata from AQS and uploading audit data to AQS. This is a picture of a lead PEP audit setup. During the audit, a lead PEP sampler is co-located with the PQAO's lead sampler and run simultaneously. The Environmental Services Assistance Team, or ESAT, is a contractor that EPA uses for the NPAP and PEP programs. ESAT provides NPAP and PEP field auditors, assures their audit equipment are certified, and as well as laboratory analysis services. EPA's Region 4 lab is responsible for analyzing the PM 2.5 PEP filters. Previously, EPA's Region 9 analyzed lead PEP filters, but will now be handled by EPA's Region 4 lab. This slide provides our contact information. Larry Byland has overall responsibility for the NPAP PEP program at Region 9, with support from myself, Randy, and Shay. Thank you for your time and interest.
Thank you, Randy and Shay. We will be now entering the live Q&A discussion for this session. If you could both join me on screen, please. I know we had a few questions answered in the chat earlier. Please type your questions in and we'll go from there. One question, please show me when the acronym NPEP got changed to NPAP. What slide did I miss it?
And, actually, the NPAP is just for the gaseous. NPAP is part of the whole NPEP program. So it's National Performance Evaluation Program. So that's kind of confusing, but NPEP is for the whole program, the NPAP and the PEP 2.5 and lead PEP. So it is confusing, but it's, yeah, two separate acronyms. NPEP is for the whole program.
One question in the chat, I think, is related to one of the ones earlier. For example, the acceptance criteria for a 0 check is plus or minus 3.1 ppb. However, the audit level 3 acceptance criteria for SO2, for example, is around 0.9 ppb.
Okay, where is that question? I missed that.
It's in the Q&A chat. And I think this is a follow-up from Jennifer's earlier question in regards to written guidance on how to evaluate data following a failed audit when the failure falls between the gap in acceptance criteria and QC checks.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Like I was saying, I think failing the NPAP or PEP audit would be something to evaluate what's going on with the system. So again, it's not necessarily where you're marking the data. I mean, failing a QC check or failing a performance audit would be where, you know, that would be a stronger occasion for invalidating data. So there may be differences, but is the question related to why there's a difference between the acceptance criteria? Or I'm not seeing the follow-up question there, so I'm trying. I apologize, so I'm missing some detail here. Oh, okay, I see it.
Essentially, how to evaluate the data considering the differences in acceptance criteria.
Okay. I think again, if the failing the NPAP audit would be just something like a flag to say, is there something going with the system? And then you'd go and check the system and perhaps run another QC check. Okay, so so again, it would not, failing the NPAP audit would not be invalidating data necessarily. So
okay,
I offhand, I'm not sure why there's a difference between these two. I'll have to go check and get back to you on that.
all right. Thank you, Randy. I'm afraid that's all we have time for Q&A at the moment. This session will end shortly, and please move on to the next session. Thank you, Randy and Shay.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.